Hello friends, it's Paige Evans and I'm so happy to be back with a process video for the winter 2023 issue of Scrapbook and Cards today featuring accordion circles. So I have pulled these pattern papers from my Sugar Plum Wishes collection. I actually have some scraps, so rather than cutting into full sheets of pattern paper, I am cutting 2 by 3 inch rectangles from these pattern papers, and each accordion circle takes 5 of these rectangles. So cut 5 2 by 3 inch rectangles for each accordion circle, and I made 5 accordion circles. So 5 times 5 ends up being 25 rectangles if you want to make your layout the exact same as mine. I love the bright colors, the traditional and non-traditional. And so here we go. Next, grab a scoring tool and you want to score at every 1/4 inch all the way across the rectangles. And you repeat that for all 5 per accordion circle, and I have 5 of them. So for all 25 rectangles, score every 1/4 inch across the entire piece. And I love this scoring board. It's a nice miniaturized version of a full scoring board, so I can take it with me anywhere and use it for small pieces of pattern paper just like this. Put that away, and now we are going to fold these accordion style. Figure out the order you want your paper strips. This is going to help with the folding. I want the ends of these paper strips to be opposite. So for this first one, the ends are facing down, and then you just fold on the score line back and forth and back and forth. Since the ends are pointing down on that first strip, I want the ends pointing up on the second strip. So fold up and down, back and forth across all of the score lines. And luckily these pieces of pattern paper are small enough that you can scrunch it all up in one piece. It is a little bit fiddly. It's even more fiddly if you score at every 1/8 inch like I like to do, so that my pages aren't too thick and then I can fit more pages into my scrapbooks. But a 1/4 inch is a good place to start. So you may notice that paper strip I just folded, the ends are pointing down. So for this 4th paper strip, the ends are pointing up. So it's just folding back and forth, accordion style, like those fans you used to make in elementary school, you know. So for this last strip, the ends will be pointing up. However, we will need to trim one down to make it opposite when we connect our rosette together, but we'll get to that in a minute. The next thing you want to do is grab 1/4 inch super sticky double-sided tape, add it to an end facing up, peel off the protective backing layer, and start connecting these accordion pieces end to end. So add the next paper strip or the next adhesive strip onto the ends and connect these rectangles together end to end. I tried using liquid glue when I first made these, but it just didn't dry fast enough. So super sticky double-sided tape to the rescue. Now, scrunch the entire thing up just to make sure the score lines are nice and crisp. And then you'll notice that the ends are both facing down. So we need to have one facing up, doesn't matter which one, just trim off a 1/4 inch. So that end is now facing up. Add super sticky double-sided tape to it, and then you can connect the paper edges together end to end. Our paper rosette is almost ready. Now you want to grab a circle punch, or you can actually just cut a scrap piece of paper, but the bigger it is, the easier time your rosette will have staying in place. So I punched a 2.5 inch circle from scratch white cardstock. I'm covering it with liquid glue. Place the rosette on top and press it down in the middle. To help it stay in place, I am adding a little dab of glue in between all of the creases at the center and then letting it dry completely. Repeat. 5 times total. So you've got 5 rosettes. Now these are going to be the feature of my layout. So I've put most of my time and effort into making these rosettes. I want them to be the star of the show, so everything else is going to come together really quickly. So I have a piece of smooth light blue cardstock for my background, and one of my favorite shapes for pages is wreaths. So I'm placing these circles in a traditional wreath shape, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I've got a photo to match. It's of our super colorful foyer, the entryway in our house, where I set up a rainbow of trees. So I will glue down the rosettes one at a time using liquid glue, and luckily I've got a few seconds to nudge them around to make sure that I like the placement. I'm going to have the edges of the circles just barely touching, so they're not overlapping, they're just touching, and then let those dry. Since these rosettes have lots of dimension and I want my photo to go in the middle, I'm using foam squares so that it's at a similar height, centering that right on the page. And then it's time to embellish. I've created the title around the curved part of the uppermost rosette using the coordinating mini foam thickers from Sugar Plum Wishes, and adding this garland die cut right at the top. I've cut a flower die cut in half, and I'm going to tuck these underneath the rosettes, one under each. So I have those, the trimmed in half one on opposite sides, tucking full florals underneath those two in the middle, and then ruffling up the edges before gluing them down to create texture and interest and bring the flowers to life. So just crinkle them up a little bit, and then I can glue them in place. I will add a little embellishment on the center of every rosette, so a little label sticker, an angel, a stocking, a sleigh, and a few birds. So a red cardinal, a little blue bird, and a purple bird to bring in all of those colors, just really make it pop. Trying to figure out where I want to put the purple bird. Okay, so I've glued all of those in place, and going to write journaling with a teal pen on this little label sticker. If you have more journaling, you could always add more label stickers or journal in some of the open gaps. The final step, you can always find a place for enamel dots, so I'm sprinkling a rainbow of enamel dots. These are also from Sugar Plum Wishes around the rosettes. They kind of remind me of candy, so it's like little pieces of eye candy that you just want to eat up. They look so good, and that just again ties in all of the colors together and makes a final interesting embellishment to catch your eye. And that, my friends, is the finished layout. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you are inspired in some way.